Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, people?
J. Ray, I can honestly say that we might be the two of the flyest podcasters out here because although we're similar, we serve different looks at times. And if you go back into our fashion history, Q Points fashion history, you can tell that whenever we show what we represent.
Yes.
And of course, I say that it's a little tongue in cheek, but it's true, though. I think we represent, and we can definitely represent wherever we go. But I must say, J. Ray, that when it comes to the catalogs of superstars and rock stars throughout the history, I will say that rap music has produced some of the flyest individuals on the planet Earth. And so what we wanted to do in this particular episode of Q Points is J. Ray and I wanted to go back and forth and discuss who we believe who's in our top 5. I know y'all like to have these Mount Rushmore conversations. Yes. We're over that. J. Ray and I are beyond that. We've had those conversations. You guys are late. Right now, what we want to talk about is who isn't late. And we're talking about fashions. Fashion-wise, who are our top 5 most fashionable hip-hop rap artists? So, J. Ray, I'm itching to hear who's on your list. So please hit me with one of your first hip hop rap stars.
So the first person I thought of when thinking of this topic was Slick Rick. Is he on your list too?
I told you there was going to be some overlap.
I didn't even know. I was like, I don't know.
But listen. What did I say at the top of this episode? Jerry and I are on it. We are very fashionable in our own way.
Yes.
And style recognizes style. And Slick Rick absolutely embodies style. Go ahead. Tell us why he's your first pick.
And I think that's it. So Rick was able to ride the wave of all the different versions of kind of hip hop, which was really dope. So when we think of him in those early years, we think of him in the suit, we think of him with the dark sunglasses, of course, with the Kangol, right? And then as he gets a little more, a little more shine, you still get the suit, but then there's like these chains are everywhere. And then the rings, he looks literally like the most grand minister from a black church that you would ever see, right? You know what I mean?
Slick Rick, indeed.
Absolutely. And then still being able to flow with a sweatsuit, flow with like Slick Rick to this day is just always like, you could tell that color, you could tell that fabric, you could tell that the way things fall on him like matters to him, so that tailoring is always together. So absolutely one of the first people I thought of was Slick Rick. What about from your standpoint?
So like I said, Slick Rick is one of the first people I thought of as well, and Slick Rick resonates with me on several levels because he represents fashion that was inspired by the Windrush generation. And if you go back and listen to our episode when we spoke about the black immigrants that migrated to England in the early 50s, late 60s, that Slick Rick was part of that Windrush generation. And when you look back at pictures of them, West Indian people always stepped out. When it was time to party, there was a lot of blue collar people that did blue collar work, service work. But when they stepped out, they put on their finest.
Yes.
And which is universal to black people, no matter where you come from. Okay, is we're going to step out and we're going to put on our finest. But there was also a uniform of a crisp shirt with a collar, a popped up collar, a couple chains, the very well creased and fitted pants.
Yes.
We love the sharp crease. So, and his fashions reflected that. But what also Slick Rick also means to me is he resonated with me because he started a trend amongst young men in the hood that would, if they got a piece of money, they got a piece of coin to go look for something to wear, you know, they would take cues from Rick because, oh, I'm gonna look fly. If Rick can look fly in a suit and still be chill, but doesn't look like a stuffy businessman on Wall Street, I can do that too. So then you have people going down to Delancey Street and and, you know, getting your suit from Alexander's. Like I always tell the story of how my mother would take me to Alexander's every spring for a new suit.
Right.
And so that was put in our DNA. So if you could take that suit and then go to and get you a Kangol, a pair of Clarks, or some Wallabies, which the Wu-Tang brought back 20 years, about 20 years later, they brought that back and started rocking the Wallabies. You can feel fly and not have spent a lot of money. But yes, the opulence also. Oh my God, the gold chains, the reveal of the gold chains is so dramatic. From the gold chains to his wrist, the gold teeth, all of it worked. All of it worked. It was gaudy, but it was gaudy in a good way. And yes, so that's why he's like one of my the very first rappers that I thought of that just embodies fly.
Yeah, no. I want to stop there because we could literally spend an entire show talking about Rick's that adornment, right? And it's still, I do want to say this. That's important, right? So all the people that I picked, and I'm sure you have this too, they're all kind of different. They all had their own thing. You know what I mean? So my second person that I have on the list, and I'm surprised when I get to this, you'll see it, but I have more women than I have men, which is interesting. But my second person on the list is Foxy Brown.
I see that. I see it.
So what really appealed to me about Fox is, of course, she arrives in hip hop as the sea change of hip hop is happening, right? In particular, the money that's in the game at that moment, the level of celebrity that's in the game in that moment, and how we've kind of moved away from kind of the Black Power conscious moment in hip hop into a more fashion forward moment.
100%.
Yeah, so I see Kim and Fox. Of course, they're in the same lane, but they're doing very different things, right? Whereas I felt Kim, and this is not a dig at Kim. I felt like Kim was much more costume in the presentation, much more, different word, much more artful in the presentation. Of her, the way she showed up, you know, with the colorful hair and the shiny whatever bling blings, right? You could tell that people were making custom pieces for her. Whereas Fox, there was like off the rack fashion, but elevated. You know what I mean? So I felt like as a dark skinned woman, rocking these, you know, rocking the Calvin Kleins, later, of course, the Christian Dior's, of course, you know what I'm saying? And and, you know, furs and, you know, kind of all of that really kind of showed women that, you know, black women in hip hop could be high fashion too. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be your Kate Mosses and just your Tyra Banks, these like model girls. Like hip hop girls could rock these clothes and bring these clothes up too, because sisters saw Fox rocking these brands and were like, oh, I want a piece of this too. And then these brands start coming to her and started being like, oh, you're going to be the muse for this line. So, I think Foxy Brown really did, especially in her heyday. We're talking about particularly in the late 90s, really when that second album hit through the early 2000s. Foxy Brown was one to watch from a fashion perspective as a woman.
Oh, 100%. I totally agree. And it's so, again, our choices mirror each other because my pick is Lil Kim. And so... And it's so funny in all of our Q Points history, whenever we've discussed one, we typically end up discussing the other, which is but what we do, what I'm very proud of us for doing, is that when we speak of them not just in glowing terms, but we speak of them in their strengths and what they bring to the game and how they change the game. Now, Lil Kim, of course, is a standout to me because so when we talk about who's the flyest, Kim, and it's well documented, Kim is that girl in the hood who you saw her, whether she was wearing some acid wash jeans that were ripped with a Coca-Cola shirt and the 5411s. If you know what 5411s are. If she's rocking the 5411s, she had and those are inexpensive, but she had a Gucci purse. Now the purse was more expensive than the whole outfit.
Right.
And so what I'm saying is those girls always had an eye, a flair for fashion. They may not have necessarily been able to afford it at the time until you met the neighborhood booster and you got your pieces that way. But they were able to carry on that tradition. And I must say, Kim carried on the tradition that Roxanne Shante started. Like if we look back at pictures of Shani when she was on the come up, when she was a young girl, Shante was rocking furs. She was rocking gold and leathers and, had custom pieces as well. But to your point about Lil Kim, when her star was on the uptick and, the fashion houses started noticing her and her wide appeal, this, of course, they came looking to her and gave her statement pieces. But I think along with what she wore, Kim would have fashion moments with wearing next to nothing. Right. And that says a lot. Yeah. Like a lot of her huge fashion moments, I think of specifically that I think it's a Louis Vuitton moment in the backseat of a Bentley where she's got her hands covering her breasts, but she has nothing on but this one wide fedora style hat with a plume with a feather in it. Yeah. And a pair of nasty ankle boots, I think they were. But she's completely naked. Yeah. But that was a whole fashion moment. I mean, and so to me, anyone that can come along and completely upset the game, turn every function upside down when they arrive, have the paparazzi looking to see what you're wearing, constantly on magazine covers. You're not just how am I going to say this? You're not just a rapper who just happens to be fly. You literally are a fashion moment. Yeah. You are a fashion moment. I know it's been said a million times before, but she really completely changed the game. And especially the commerce aspect of hip hop. Yeah. And so to me, all of that combined is what makes her one of my top 5 flyest. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, but there's some real meat and potatoes behind that pick. And I think everybody out there would agree. But so since we're still talking about women in rap, there's somebody else who, and this I have to say, seeing her at the Met Gala, this past Met Gala, really, really reminded me of how much of a fashion plate this woman is. I'm giving it up to Lauryn Hill.
Fashion icon.
Hill on the lowest of keys has been eating, as the kids say, has been eating the girls up left and right on the lowest of keys. Yes. Like she doesn't do, she's not splashy like Kim or Fox. But when you see Lauryn might have on some vintage pieces, some custom, and to her credit, she's always remained covered. Yep. I noticed she's always remained covered now, and that's in her later years. Now when she was El Boogie, what she used to call herself, Pop Diesel or something like that back in the day, one of her nicknames. She was also quite fashionable. Yeah. They were Gap kids. I remember she made skirts look fly.
Yeah.
And if you know, you know, she from the hair with the, you know, the twists and the knots, and then she finally just went full dreads. Well, went full locks. And Lauryn has low key been a fashion movement in her own right for years. I have never seen her perform post Miseducation. I've never seen her perform on stage without a pair of heels. And that's saying something. And you know, you would think that she would not be into that, but Mama has never stepped on stage without a nasty heel.
Nah, Lauryn is, you are absolutely right. I will never forget there was the Roots picnic. So this is like 2012. You could watch this video online.
Yes.
She came out in the white little dress. Yes. And I was like, we be forgetting that girl Lauryn is going to give you fresh style. Okay. At all times. Nope. Highly agree. And we're going to stay in Jersey since we here.
Okay.
Because Queen Latifah is on my list.
She is on your list.
Dana Owens has always, from Dance for Me on down, has always stuck to a signature style. But as her star has risen, like, everything about her style has also risen with it. And so there's always been the consistency around the celebration of her blackness, especially her black womanhood, right? Dana has always shown up royally, is on camera, even on TV, even when you would watch Living Single, right? It was like, you could tell that whoever was styling her also was like, okay, this is like Queen Latifah style. You know what I mean? On television. But I think, speaking of the Met Gala, I remember when her and her partner showed up on that red carpet at the Met Gala last year. And it was just like, yo, this woman knows how to turn heads. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and what I love about Queen Latifah's style, even when I watch The Equalizer, it is, one, we've talked about this a lot. Hair is never out of place.
The hair needs a moment by itself, J. Ray. The hair is a moment by itself. I don't understand why I know she's done CoverGirl for makeup and, you know, face card is always on 10. But I am so surprised she never had some type of relaxer deal or something, was not on the cover of somebody's box, because, like, to your point, that hair was always laid. To this day, it's always laid. Even when she first came out and she had it cut short, you know, like a typical basketball female basketball player, cut short, curly on top and cut on the sides with the lines and everything, that was still fly. She
completely
was the flyest of the fly girls.
You know what I mean? So she absolutely sits on my list. I think she's an important style icon and taught Black women that there are different ways that you could kind of show up.
Yes.
And still be fly. So Queen Latifah, absolutely. So that was 3. So we both did 3. Yes, we did both did 3, right? So who's a fourth for you?
Okay, so before we get into that,
I
do have a question.
Yes.
Do you remember your first clothing purchase, and who was it inspired by? Like, you took your own money and you were old enough to say, okay, I want this piece of iconography on my back, because it's fly and it represents that I'm part of the culture and I'm cool.
Yeah. So, I do remember this, but it was actually an accessory. So the first accessory that I purchased, and it was inspired by Flavor Flav, was the rope the rope stopwatch clock thing, because I
Yes.
definitely wanted that. I
Okay.
couldn't get the big joint because my mom was like, no, you can't do that. But you couldn't do this swatch. They were selling those. So
Yes.
shout out to the folks. Y'all may not remember this, but back in the day in the hood, you could buy color-coded stopwatches that you could wear around your neck. And so they were your watch and your stopwatch. But when I would get money and I could go out and buy stuff, I can't remember how much these things were, but I remember buying it from the flea market. And I got me one of those. Yeah.
Okay. So another pick, this is coming from a little left field, but one of my picks was Digable Planets.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Digable Planets, to me, so of course we're talking about 92 when they drop. So they're squarely in the vein of Tribe Called Quest and that whole Native Tongues. But it's like they took the bohemian style and kind of, I don't know, it wasn't exaggerated. It was almost kind of, it was understated and clean cut, but there was also something very militarized about it without looking military, if you catch what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because between Rebirth and
Rutabaga.
the blowout between blue balls between Rebirth and the blowout comb, they had experienced some radicalization of their own, I'm pretty certain, brought on by the music industry. And so while they were kind of backpackers, but they were still smooth with it, that kind of that stuck out to me. It's like, okay, I see you got that from, that looks like a Gap piece, but I know that that's, some camouflage that you cop from the corner store. And camouflage pieces look so dope to me back then, back in the early 90s. And it felt strong. It definitely reflected a different movement within hip hop. We're backpackers now. We're kind of grimy and and earthy. You got if you got a kufi on sometimes, or you get one of those military style hats to pull to feel like, because we've taken the culture back to the underground.
Yep.
And so to do that, you kind of had to look the part. And so Digable Planets, to me, did that. But fast forward to now, the three of them, man, those three are that is a good looking group of people. Their style has evolved.
Yep.
I love how Mecca, being the only woman in the group, Ladybug, the only woman in the group, she's able to shine.
Yeah.
And to embrace all her femininity. Because of course back then she was rocking, shirts and pants like the boys and whatnot. But now she's completely bloomed and has her own pieces as well. It's like these women are getting their tens from their stylist, or if they do it on their own. And then the fellas, they're bohemian. Ish in particular, I love Ish's style from rocking guaberas to the tunics.
Yep.
With the embroidered, the embroidering and something just looks very lush and luxe. And so I like the fact that I was inspired by them as a teenager, and as an almost 50-year-old can still be inspired by them to still be fly and hip hop at the same time.
Yeah, I love that you picked Digable Planets, because that's an interesting pick, but it mirrors, because this person who is on my list got some stuff from Digable Planets, and that person is Mos Def. Mos Def, or Yasiin Bey. Sorry, Yasiin Bey. What I love about his evolving style is it absolutely veered from kind of the grimy backpack underground late 90s, early 2000s New York into vintage pieces. So he started wearing the fedoras, started wearing the jackets, started wearing, custom pants, like fitted pants and
Yes.
all of that. So I distinctly remember when the New Danger was coming out and just watching how his style had evolved leaps and bounds since like the Black on Both Sides record. And seeing the way that he was able to kind of bring suits into this, but they weren't like, at least to my knowledge, like brand new designer suits, right? They definitely looked vintage. They may not have been vintage, but they looked vintage. And he absolutely expanded, especially in the early 2000s, like what it was okay for a rapper to look like. Right? Because we were squarely entering a movement where everything was like names and high fashion. So you were hearing all of the names, the Gucci's and the Versace's and all of that. Whereas even though that was in his wheelhouse, he looked classic. So when I even think of, and I know that we're gonna do a show on this, when I think of like the idea of the dandy, Yasiin Bey represents that in so many ways, and even today you see it showing up in his style. So I think that brother is dope, and absolutely has inspired the way I see myself as a Black man, and I think other rappers the way they can see themselves.
Absolutely. And to add to that really quickly, I just distinctly feel like Yasiin also brought a global appeal.
Yeah.
Like you could, like some of the things that he would wear, you would see in South African art pieces from the 60s. Like, okay, it's like, oh, so this brother is doing references back to the 60s, the 70s, but not just here in the States, across the globe.
Yeah.
And not just Africa, but places outside of Africa, because I'm sure he is Muslim, right?
He is. He absolutely is. Yes.
So that had an effect on the way he dressed as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of our Muslim brothers and sisters be rocking it. Like a lot of that stuff is custom and as fly as I don't know what. Yep. So hats off to you on that pick. And you said something very important about seeing yourself and reflected in these artists. And we've said it many, 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 many times on this show that Heavy D was one of the influences for us, because you and I, we have a different way of presenting in this world, because both of us we're big guys. We're men of stature. Myself, I was 13 years old and already almost 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And wearing a size 13.
That's hard, man.
That's hard. That's hard when you're 13 and you want to look like everybody else, but your body is doing something completely different than everybody else, but you want to be fly at the same time. And Heavy D came at a time when I was going through that, and I was like, oh, okay. You know, at that moment when he steps out of the Big and Tall store in Mount Vernon, I was like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me going to the Big and Tall store, but then being more intentional about what I pick out and making sure that I feel good about what I'm wearing. And so, you know, everything from the uniformity of what he had on with the boys who were much smaller than him, but there was a uniformity in what they wore. And then when we got to Big Time and the albums after that, you talk about classy, but still representing hip hop, clean. It lent him to not just us in the hip hop community, but it gave him crossover appeal and allowed him to kick down some more doors in order for us to come through as well. So Heavy D will forever be one of my hip hop style icons forever. And before we wrap this up, Jay, okay, I know you're not going to expect this, but I have to give honorable mention. I have have one too. Oh, perfect. So I have honorable mention to Mr. Kool Moe Dee.
Oh, good one. Okay, good one. I thought we were going to pick the same person. Okay, cool.
That wouldn't surprise me. But Kumo D on
Yeah.
the lowest of keys was killing you all. It was killing y'all. He was eating the game up in the mid 80s.
Yeah.
Now he did come from the era where it was Puma sweatsuits and whatnot, but he also did come from the era where they were integrating a lot of leather. The look was very downtown, very Soho, very, punk inspired. And he was integrating a lot of leather. And then when the late 80s came along, Kumo D, I don't know were those Dapper Dans? But Kumo D always had a fresh leather outfit.
Always.
With the pillbox hat to top it all
trench
off.
Coats and boots.
I mean, if Peter had known about Kumo D, they would have been at every video shoot waiting to throw blood on that brother because he was sharp. He was sharp. And let's not talk about the eyewear. The signature eyewear. It went from just regular shades to those big blockers. I don't know what
they're called, but
what that brand was. But eyewear, custom gear. He's a style icon. He's a style icon that we like to not talk about Kumo D on purpose because I think of the way he raps, and people nowadays make fun of the cadence that he delivered. But the brother gave a lot to the game, and he whether it was with his music and his rhymes, but also he was a style maven. He was a fashion maven for sure. So my honorable mention goes to Kumo D.
Oh, that is a really good honorable mention. So Missy is my honorable mention because I feel like even to this day, whenever you see Missy on camera, she's ready to be on camera. You know what I mean? Like,
the same way we feel about Latifah and hair. Missy is also a hair
and makeup.
Goddess.
I remember, and Missy used to say especially during them early years when she was like super duper busy, her makeup artist would literally do her makeup while Missy was sleeping, because it was like because she had to like be ready to do a thing. Apparently the makeup artist would just be like in there like getting the face done and the eyes and all of it. Missy would wake up misdemeanor. But this right here was such a dope conversation. Who are let us know as a comment. Who's your flyest rapper? Who are some of your flyest rappers? We would love to hear from y'all, but please stay connected to Q Points. Please, if you can see our faces or hear our voices, subscribe. Let your friends, family, colleagues know, because if you enjoy Q Points, chances are they will enjoy Q Points as well. Visit our website at qpoints.com. You can watch all of our archive for our entire show. Shop our store at store.qpoints.com and check out additional content on Q Points Mag at magazine.qpoints.com.
Thank you, J. Ray. And what do I always say in this life? You have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or let the record play. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
My name is J. Ray, y'all.
And this is Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We will see you on the next go round, looking fresh dressed, ready to impress.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.